So I never really cared about driving, if I'm honest. Like everyone talks about it, talks about getting their license like it's the coolest thing ever, but I wasn't that hyped about it. It was just another thing I had to do one way or another, either now or later. My first couple lessons were not that bad at all. I got started with the complete basics and it was fairly smooth, but of course I had, a couple hiccups every now and then. What I really had was no motivation because I was just kind of doing it for the sake of doing it. And when I realized that, oh, why am I really doing this? Is it because I just wanted to get it out of the way, or it's not? I just didn't want to be the last one to pass out my friends. Not that it really matters. It was just on my mind at the time. But then one day it kind of just hit me that literally during a random lesson, I'm not gonna have a first time ever again. When it comes to learning to drive, this is me learning to drive for the first time, and I'm not going to get a second time to learn how to drive. And so, with this realization, I've just kind of felt, maybe I should actually try to enjoy this and maybe realize that this is something I'm never going to get to do again. And I messed up a lot during all my lessons. After like maybe my fourth or fifth one, I was kind of stuck with like my lane discipline. Sometimes I would just forget to put it in first when I've stopped at a red light. And I guess bit by bit, everything slowly started to make sense and it became natural. And one thing I really struggled with was lifting up the clutch. It was just something I couldn't do. I'd always just get off it too quick and that's all. But witnessing myself making those mistakes and then later on changing them and just not doing them naturally became something I appreciated. And I was proud of myself every single time something went right. And I believe going through with your driving journey, your instructor is going to be a big part of it. Even if you've had multiple instructors, my instructor personally was super patient. He was always explaining stuff to me, and we'd have nice conversations in the car, we'd crack jokes, and everything I did, even if I made a mistake, he'd never make me feel dumb. And I truly believe if you have a good instructor that has the time to genuinely learn how you learn and work with you, it impacts you well. And this is something you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. So why not have someone who genuinely cares about how you learn to drive? Now, going on to my test days, at this point, I've done about 13 lessons, and it was kind of dawning on me, and I was pushing it away. Like, the test day isn't real, it's not, it was not gonna happen. But the night before my test day, I didn't watch any videos or I didn't look at any revision. I just kind of wanted to get out of my mind because for the past week or so, I've been kind of making sure I do a revision and looking at just driving. And I told myself the night before, you need to sleep. And I woke up maybe 4 or 5 times in the dead of night, and I told myself and forced myself to just go back to sleep. And I know me best, so I know that the last thing I wanted on my driving test was to be tired. So I woke up fairly early, and my test was around 12 midday. And so I had the routine breakfast, and I didn't really know what to expect because this day was, I knew it was going to be life changing because either it'll make me feel set back or push me forward. I didn't know what to really expect. And well, I waited and I waited for my instructor to come outside of my house, and I would look out the window just waiting for his car. And then once he finally arrived and I got in the car, the first thing I told him was, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. And he just said, don't worry, that's normal, drive on. And my driving was fine. There was nothing was really like, nothing was worse, nothing was better. Everything was just kind of average, how anyone would usually drive, I guess. And then when it came to parking outside the test center and then going inside, because this is a place I've been to many times, but I've never been inside of it for, well, to actually do anything. So what happened was I sat down in this room full of people, and then these examiners started coming out with their green screen, just like their little green jackets. I don't know how to explain it, but they came out and they started just naming people and asking if they're here, and they did this a couple of times in like rounds. So maybe I'm pretty sure it wasn't the first round, it was like the second or third. A man came out and he called my name, and I made sure to put on a smile and greeted him fairly well, and I was asking him, oh, how was your day? And he went on with his routine. He was like, yeah, how are you? Then he took my license and the test was away. And today was quite sunny. Well, the test day was. It was a very sunny day. So when I went outside, I had to read number plates from about, I think maybe 25, 35 meters away. And genuinely the first one I couldn't do it. And then he made me move over to the right where I found where there was another car. And so I just focused on it and I said it. But that's not true. I read that number plate beforehand, so I already knew what it said. My eyesight is, it's not that bad, but I just couldn't, it was sunny, I couldn't read it. And this driving test, it was so awkward, so silent. No, we didn't speak at all. I tried to speak once when maybe 15 minutes into the driving test, I spoke. I was like, yo, is it always this silent, or do you get people who talk a lot? And he cut me off and he just said, you need to focus, mate. And from then on, I didn't even breathe loudly. I was just like, okay, this guy doesn't want to speak to me. Maybe it's for the best. But it genuinely helped me. I focused up and I went on with the test. I mean, I was shaking and I had such a tight grip on the steering wheel. You can ask your friends or peers, hey, how was your driving test? And then actually being in one, it's your own experience. It's very different. And well, it finally came to parking up. I finally parked up, and once I had parked up, he said to me, looked at me and he was like, hey, do you want to bring over your your instructor, sorry, so he can hear the results at the same time you're here. I was like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. I was in the middle. I don't know, it was very 50-50. I don't know if I failed, I don't know if I passed, because I didn't know if I missed anything. And so he called over my instructor and he came over, and the way this guy just casually said, on this occasion you've successfully blah 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 blah, I didn't even hear him. I was like, it was so casual the way he said it, and I only realized because my instructor looked at me with a big smile on my face, on his face, and he was like, hey, fair enough, bro, you passed. Like, of course he believed in me and stuff, but looking back, I'm actually kind of glad that I had this realization that, hey, this is the first time you're ever going to learn, enjoy it. And so I did. Even though I wasn't excited at the start, I found out a lot about myself. I learned how to drive and to enjoying the whole thing, because it only happens once, and I'm happy that I didn't totally sleepwalk through it. Now, if you're learning, or even if you're not bothered about driving right now, trust me, just try to enjoy the process, the weird moments and the fails. Even if you're not obsessed, you'll look back and you'll realize it was actually kind of special in its own way. And honestly, if I can pass, you probably can too.